Hey, did you see this article from Alex Korb, a PhD neuroscientist?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. So for everybody who didn't read it, the title of it is I've been a neuroscientist for 20 years. I keep my brain strong and healthy by avoiding 6 things. This article was from CNBC. I'll go ahead and give you the too long didn't read high level overview of it, and then we can go back and forth. But I have some notes here as well that we can go into later.
Let's do it.
Cool. So a neuroscientist says a lot of high achiever habits actually hurt your brain long term. And the writer, Alex, says he stays sharp mainly by avoiding 6 things: suppressing anxiety. He avoids suppressing anxiety, using self-criticism as motivation, obsessing over sleep metrics, multitasking, forcing constant positivity, and tying your self-worth to productivity. And the big idea, peak brain health isn't about optimizing everything. It's about removing harmful mental habits, especially those tied to stress and overperformance. What are your quick thoughts there? I have some thoughts, but I want to hand it to you real quick.
Yeah. Yeah, this is interesting. It's definitely more contrarian to your average, say, like YouTuber go-getter video. I
Yeah,
think that's
go ahead.
like number two, don't rely on self-criticism to motivate you. Like that's very much, I feel like, opposite of how a lot of people push themselves throughout the day.
Yeah. I thought avoiding, like, don't suppress anxiety. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like there's 2 things in here that were standing out that kind of seemed unexpected to me. Don't suppress anxiety, and then don't obsess over sleep metrics. I feel like at least the sleep metrics one is a hot take because every biohacker bro out there is like, you got to have your wearables, you got to be getting 8 hours and all of that. And he said he doesn't do that. And I have notes for each of those sections that we can get into later. But what are your thoughts, at least on those two, the suppressing anxiety and sleep metrics?
Yeah. Let's just go through them one by one. So
Yeah.
the don't suppress anxiety.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's like, I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Like, I think everyone, well, okay, I'll just speak for myself. I think it sounds good to think about why you're feeling the way you are, because that obviously something is going on. So try to figure out what that is. I think a lot of people maybe feel anxious every day at their job or even at home. So it might be hard to figure out, like, pinpoint exactly what's causing it.
Yeah. The
But
article
yeah,
says about that, like, naming where the anxiety comes from is actually the best way to address it,
yeah.
is identifying it.
Yeah, which makes sense. If there's an issue, but you don't know what the issue is, then you can't fix the issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you do this at all?
Definitely, like, time comes up that you're more anxious. And honestly, I'm probably more guilty of being on the boat of I just ignore it and push forward. But I think it's valuable. And I think it's like a practice you have to, like, remind yourself to not ignore it, push through it, and actually try to name it and figure out where it's coming from. I definitely don't do that.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
Yeah.
I like the
Uh,
idea of it.
so yeah, so don't ignore anxiety. Like if you're feeling anxious or worried, like just try to name why you think that is. And then there's some tips later that help with this. There's some other notes here that kind of push into the anxiety thing, but we'll go on to the next one. Don't rely on self-criticism. I don't rely on it. I definitely do it, but I don't rely on it.
Yeah, I don't think I struggle with this one as much. I don't use self-criticism to motivate me,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, I definitely self-criticize. I think you have to. I think some self-criticism is healthy. Just don't let
Yeah.
that be the only thing driving you.
Yeah. You have to be objective about, so I think maybe the closest thing to being self-criticizing is I'm trying to be objective to myself. Like, are you being lazy right now? You know what I mean? Like, you're being lazy right now, you should go do something. Like, that's probably good self-criticism versus like, you messed up again, you're dumb. That's probably not healthy
Yeah.
self-criticism.
Yeah, exactly. Like what this says, rather than focusing on the outcomes I don't want. So
Yeah.
you're lazy, focus on the outcomes you do want.
Yeah.
You could be working out right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually a really good takeaway I've heard in like other contexts here. And I'll go ahead and read what I wrote. It's only good relying on self-criticism is only good for short-term productivity, but it harms long-term productivity. Instead of focusing on outcomes you don't want, shift to focus on outcomes you do want. And so instead of thinking, oh, I'm not doing this, think of, oh, I can do this or something like that. I think, yeah, focus on the outcomes you do want is helpful.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. The hottest take on the one right here in the middle. Don't track sleep quality.
Yeah, what's wrong with tracking, bro?
So I took some notes here. It's somewhat what he said. I'll let you read the paragraph in a second, but don't track what you can't control. Make adjustments to routine if you wake up tired. Focus on proven habits instead of reaching to data. So he was pushing more on uh sometimes the outcome of things doesn't really do much good. So if you wake up tired, like what does that actually mean? Like you can see why you feel tired in data. It's like, oh, I only had, 20 minutes of deep sleep or REM or something like that. Like that doesn't really do anything. But if you say, oh, I was sleepy and you consider proven outcomes and or proven habits, and he lists out some proven habits, which are morning sunlight, a consistent bedtime, exercise, and a calming nighttime routine. If you just focus on those inputs instead of looking at the data, you'd probably be better off. Because what good does it do to know, oh, I didn't get this much, rapid eye movement last night or deep sleep? Like that doesn't do any good besides to know why you're tired. But the real reason you're tired is you didn't get to bed early enough or you need a new pillow.
Yeah, I think I disagree on this one because I agree, like, don't look at the data as the end goal, but you might not know what's causing you to get worse sleep and what's causing you to get better sleep. So if you're at least tracking it every night, you can
So
see, like,
track habits.
yes, but use the data to determine maybe which habit is causing you to have bad sleep.
Hmm.
If, you're tracking and then suddenly you had a really bad night of sleep, you can think, "Oh, what did I do different last night? Oh, yeah, I had a coffee at 3 PM," which, I mean,
Yeah.
like, obviously, but I don't think having that data is anything but a positive, personally.
Yeah. I think it just adds to your plate. I think that's what he's trying to get here was like tracking all those things, at least to him, isn't useful. And so yeah, the next one I really liked. It's been on my mind a lot lately. Don't multitask when you need to think deeply. And I wrote, people are multitasking more than ever. The value of focusing on one thing at a time is lost in our current culture, especially with ChatGPT, like AI allowing us to go run something like, you know, especially when early days of ChatGPT where it took like a minute for it to summarize an article. Like
Yes.
you would summarize an article and then you'd go off and then you'd start doing something else. You're like, oh yeah, I summarized that article. Let me go read it. And then like you're so unfocused that you never actually understand the thing you summarized or understand the AI code that you're generating. I think the value of being super focused on one thing has been degraded, but I think that there's a huge opportunity if you can focus on one thing and be really good at that one thing and do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is huge. I'm trying to think of, like, my day at work. I work in an office that's very much pushing to use agents right now. So, I'm trying to think of one task. I have a few agents running that I'm constantly switching back and forth. Once this agent needs input, I have to give that. So I'm switching between inputs or agents and then also like Teams messages popping up, emails, as well
Yeah.
as like people walking by. Like I don't remember the last time I've been in a very deep like focus on a task. And I feel like I have felt more like tired with less productivity is what it feels like. So this is
Yeah.
interesting. I'm going to try to take some of this advice.
Yeah. It's been huge for me. So for this podcast is a really good example of this where I force myself an hour before we record and an hour of 1 hour for a day on the week. So I put 2 hours of focus time on these articles that we're looking at
Yeah.
and planning. And having unblocked 2 hours where I have my headphones in and I'm listening to music is super beneficial. Like you said, like, in a way, I said the word culture in my summary is like our culture, like your job probably doesn't want you to focus on one thing. Like no one's job wants them to. They don't see the value in it, but there is science proving the value in focusing on one thing at a time or like blocking, like I can only do this for this hour.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
so undervalued and it's a really dangerous thing that our culture is doing. We're like changing expectations when in reality it's you get worse outcomes. And it seems like one of those like frou-frou, like people would call it like pseudoscience or like, oh, that's dumb, but like it actually does make a difference and it's proven, but people don't want to believe it because it doesn't look. We're too worried about optics.
Yeah.
Like you have to look busy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like especially since having, a I have a toddler right now, so it makes it that's also multitasking until he's asleep, trying to do
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Imma try to take some of this advice and set chunks of time, like, specifically for tasks. I think that'd be good.
Yeah. It's like,
Alright.
I've been wanting to do this one thing. How can I just block an hour to do it? All right. You
Yeah.
were about to move on. Sorry.
No, no, I was gonna say, alright, Doctor Korb, I'm back on your side after that one.
Yeah. He got you back after all the tech. You just wanted tech to track your sleep.
Yeah,
The next
exactly.
one, don't invalidate emotions. When you feel an emotion, label it. When you label it, your brain actually sees a physical improvement from that emotion. So that's an interesting one. He's a neuroscientist. Go look up the article. But he actually states there's physical changes in your chemistry in your brain whenever you think of an emotion and you name it, and don't just name it like sadness, but like, this is sad because of this, or I am, angry because of this, and actually get down to why you're angry. Your brain actually rewires and different chemicals are reacted. And that's super interesting to me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Just thinking can change chemistry in your brain.
Yeah, going back to toddler, that's something we have found is if he's like very emotional, like throwing a tantrum, just
Yeah.
acknowledging like, "Are you frustrated right now?" And then he's like, "Yes," or whatever. Like
Yeah.
that calms him down to be acknowledged for the way he's feeling. So I could see that definitely having effects on us as well.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a big thing, like kids to just, they just have like an output and they don't know why, or they kind of know
Right.
why, but they don't know how to communicate it. The way they communicate it is crying, but crying can mean like 50 different things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Yeah. Trying to teach them what's wrong and then give
Yeah.
them a list. The hard thing for me is like, if you give them a list, I just don't trust that they're not just saying yes randomly.
True.
You
But
know?
at least at this age, it shows them like if they're just frustrated and then you yell at them to calm down, like that doesn't help their frustration at all. It just
Yeah.
adds to it. So it's
Yeah.
like guiding them through it, even if they don't actually understand the words.
Yeah.
So do you have you ever done this? Have you ever been like, oh, I feel sad right now because of this, and then felt better?
Hmm.
I don't think I really have, but
No,
I'm
I
pretty.
think probably with boredom or like
I'm bored right now.
hunger. Like, are you actually hungry?
Mm,
You
yeah,
know? Which hunger isn't an emotion, but like
for you it is.
bore yeah, for me it is. Boredom is probably the thing. It's like, am I bored? I feel like boredom and sadness can be very similar to me. And
Yeah,
so,
interesting.
yeah, like trying to name that. But like, yeah, I feel, or if you feel bored, are you actually feeling like a lack of value or something like that,
Yeah,
unproductive? And so I think I kind of do that naturally, and I don't notice it, but there's definitely sometimes that I don't. So I'll
yeah.
try.
Well, yeah, that's gonna flow into this last one pretty well.
Yeah. Don't confuse productivity with self worth. Yeah. This one's a tough one, but it's a concept I've heard before. I'll read my thing real quick. Focusing on productivity is often tied to outcomes. The dopamine hit from short term accomplishments drives to burnout because we're always chasing the reward that comes from output. And then the last sentence, try to be less reward driven or dopamine driven. So, I mean, I've heard so many stories of people like, you're studying for a test, like give yourself a little piece of chocolate every page you turn, something like that. Or if I work out, I'll get to do this. Or, it's like we're rewarding ourselves for what we accomplish, and it's backwards. Like you have to somehow, like he's suggesting in the article, like you have to find your own value outside of what you complete. Like you're just as valuable if you do this or you don't do this. And I think that's again a culture issue because we tie what we do to our income, and our income is so tied to our value because like you get paid based on the value you bring the world, but that's like sort of true, not full and complete.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is, um okay, so I think it's interesting. He says, when I start to spiral, I take a deep breath and remind myself that I'm doing my best. I think that's good, but sometimes for me, I don't know if that's true. I think sometimes I'm just being lazy and I need to be more productive. Like balancing those.
Which goes to the top one, or not the top, the second one, don't rely on self criticism.
True.
So it's like there are times where you have to be honest with yourself. Like, am I being as productive as possible? And you aren't.
Yeah.
So like that is very difficult to find that fine line of, how do I be honest with myself, but also like not hurt my productivity, because you're going to kill your productivity and your happiness if you are fully focused on what you're not doing. So,
Yes. True.
but I mean, if you blend that second point and this last point, which was instead of focusing on outcomes you don't want, shift to focus on outcomes you do want. If you mix that with try to be less reward driven, those are two really complementary concepts.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. We do these daily. So if you are interested in small business, tech, AI, tune in tomorrow to see what we talk about. And if you are a small business owner looking to see where AI fits in your business, go to infactodigital.com, or there's a link in the description. And we do a free webinar for small businesses that show them what's possible with AI and help them find where it fits. All right. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Dylan.